Hi YouTube. Today I'll be making a video that I wanted to make a long time ago, but I think now is the time. It's a good time to make a video about it. So, video I'll be making today, obviously, as the title will say, is how to ride a motorcycle. And I'm going to start out with the beginning features. Things that you'll want to know first. Talk about the controls, and then we'll get into riding. Alright, so first thing we'll be doing, I'm going to take these off. We'll be talking and going over the controls. Alright, you got a motorcycle and you want to learn how to ride, or you're on a buddy's motorcycle. What do you do next? What are the controls? How do you brake? How do you change your gears? First of all, we'll go over the gear changing, and we'll go over the clutch. Right here is the clutch, the left handlebar. One of the first things that you'll do when you learn how to ride is figure out the friction zone of the clutch. You want to know when the clutch is going to engage. So that'll be the first thing that you should do before you ride the motorcycle. Then we're going to go over the gearing. On most motorcycles, you'll notice that the gearing is first gear, which is one click down, and then neutral, which is half a click up from first gear, then second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth, if your bike has it, it just clicks up, and you'll just put your toes there and click up. And if you want to downshift, you click down, 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 down. And the clutch, every time you shift, you want to depress the clutch. When you are shifting, you can go ahead and pull the clutch in all the way if you want. But when you are shifting into a gear and you're about to continue riding, you want to slowly ease out the clutch. But when you're about to shift, you can pull it in as quick as you want. But every time you let go of the clutch, you want to ease out like this. Because if you just do that, the bike might stall. Rear wheel might lock up. It's not a good thing to do. So you'll slowly want to ease out on the clutch. Alright, so that's the shifting and the clutch. Now the brakes. Back brake here. Front brake is on the right handlebar. Alright, so use your toes, press the back brake. And then the front brake is right here. Now if you're making a stop, you want to pull the clutch in while you apply the brakes. If you apply the brakes with the clutch engaged, you're just going to be braking against the engine, which is not good for your brakes or your engine. You can apply a little bit of brakes while the clutch is still engaged, but that's only for slowing down. Not much, just maybe a tiny bit, but you do not want to squeeze the brakes. This is obviously the throttle. Depending on your bike, some bikes the throttle is very sensitive, and other ones it's not. Mainly depending on the power of your bike. This one, if you were to do this, that would be bad news in most cases. Alright, so this is your engine kill switch. This bike has power modes, so these are to select your modes. This is your engine start button. Then we'll go over here. This is your passing light if you just want to flash your lights at somebody. High beams, low beams, turn signals. Turn signals left, right, and center to cancel. It's your horn there. And this is your ignition. This bike and most bikes, they have a steering lock, and basically what you do is you just twist it all the way to the left with the handlebars turned to the left, and that will lock the steering wheel, or the handlebars. And turn it on, you just twist the key to the right. In the ignition, you just twist it more, just like a car. So next we're going to be going over the friction zone. Talking about the clutch and the friction zone. And then we'll go on to a couple more complicated things. I'll show you stopping in action, and another thing that I forgot to mention with the back brake and the front brake. Whenever you're making a stop, you always want to use both. The front brake accounts for 70% of your stopping power. Also, if you walk up the rear brake and you skid, at the motorcycle safety course I was told that you're supposed to hold the skid, because if you don't hold the skid with your back brake, when the tire regains traction, it can actually cause you to crash, have a high side. And usually that's how high sides happen, is the back brake locking up. The front brake, if it locks up, you want to let go of the front brake as quick as you can. If it locks up, you do not want to be skidding on the front wheel. Alright, so I'll start it up, and then I'll show you how the friction zone works. And a lot of bikes you have to press the clutch in as well as ignition. So, alright, so you got your bike started. You're ready to ride. Make sure you're in neutral when you start it. Alright, so now we'll go over the instrument cluster. On this bike, it has a digital speedometer. It's a little inaccurate, that's why I have the cell phone there. But here's your speed, and then there's your odometer, and then here's your tachometer, which is really important because tachometer is obviously the RPMs of the engine. So, you know, the higher RPMs, the more power your engine is going to give you. And, you know, obviously, your bike might prefer to be shifted at certain RPMs. Not all bikes have tachometers. Some of them you just kind of go by how the engine's sounding at the time. But, yeah, this bike does, and a lot of other bikes do. So we'll be going over the friction zone now. Alright, so as you can see the clutch, I'm slowly moving it, and the bike is moving. It's not engaged all the way, but I can move with no gas. So right here is where my clutch engages. If I let out more and more. Usually you want to apply the gas when you do this, because just doing this is can cause the bike to stall. So you want to apply the gas, but just get comfortable with how your clutch works. Touch the brakes, see how quick you stop, and then go again. Engage the clutch again. And yeah, so now you're rolling. Now let's try getting a little bit of gas now. Remember, as you can see, I'm still holding the clutch in a little bit. Not until you're moving at pretty good speed. I see I'm going at 10 is when you can let go of the clutch. So here, now once you've done this, you know, find a nice good parking spot to ride around in. Stay in first gear until you're comfortable with how it feels to ride the bike. And I also recommend that you try braking in first gear. So pretend this line up here is something in the road. So pull the clutch in, squeeze the brakes. Alright, so just practice that until you feel comfortable.